Sentient beings' bodies. Buddha's body. According to the Vimalakirti Sutra, Vimalakirti used expedient means of appearing illness in his body to expound about sentient beings' bodies, and the Buddha's body to save them. Because of his indisposition, kings, ministers, elders, upasakas, Brahmins, as well as princes and other officials numbering many thousands came to inquire after his health. So Vimalakirti appeared in his sick body to receive and expound the Dharma to them, saying, "Virtuous ones, the human body is impermanent. It is neither strong nor durable. It will decay and is, therefore, unreliable. It causes anxieties and sufferings, being subject to all kinds of ailments. Virtuous ones, all wise men do not rely on this body, which is like a mass of foam, which is intangible. It is like a bubble, and does not last for a long time. It is like a flame, and is the product of the thirst of love. It is like a banana tree, the center of which is hollow. It is like an illusion, being produced by inverted thoughts. It is like a dream being, formed by phasal views. It is like a shadow and is caused by karma. This body is like an echo, for it results from causes and conditions. It is like a floating cloud, which disperses any moment. It is like lightning, for it does not stay for the time of a thought. It is ownerless, for it is like the earth. It is egoless, for it is like fire that kills itself. It is transient like the wind. It is not human, for it is like water. It is unreal and depends on the four elements for its existence. It is empty, being neither ego nor its object. It is without knowledge like grass, trees and potsherds. It is not the prime mover, but is moved by the wind of passions. It is impure and full of filth. It is false, and though washed, bathed, clothed and fed, it will decay and die in the end. It is a calamity, being subject to all kinds of illnesses and sufferings. It is like a dry well, for it is perjured by death. It is unsettled, and will pass away. It is like a poisonous snake, a deadly enemy, a temporary assemblage, without underlying reality, being made of the 5 aggregates, the 12 entrances, the 6 organs, and their objects, and the 18 realms of sense, the 6 organs, their objects and their perceptions. Virtuous ones, the human body being so repulsive, you should seek the Buddha body. Why? Because the Buddha body is called Dharmakaya, the product of boundless merits and wisdom, the outcome of discipline, meditation, wisdom, liberation and perfect knowledge of liberation, the result of kindness, compassion, joy and indifference to emotions, the consequence of the 6 perfections or paramithas, charity, discipline, patience, zeal, meditation and wisdom, and the sequel of expedient teaching, upaya, the 6 supernatural powers, the 3 insights, the 37 stages contributory to enlightenment, serenity and insight, the 10 transcendental powers, disabala, the 4 kinds of fearlessness, the 18 unsurpassed characteristics of the Buddha, the wiping out of all evils, and the performance of all good deeds, truthfulness, and freedom from looseness and unrestraint. So countless kinds of purity and cleanness produce the body of the Tathagata. Virtuous ones, if you want to realize the Buddha body in order to get rid of all the illnesses of a living being, you should set your minds on the quest of supreme enlightenment. Anattara Samyak Sambodhi. Thus the elder Vimalakirti expounded the Dharma to all those who came to inquire after his health, urging countless visitors to seek supreme enlightenment. 6 realms of the samsara, and 4 realms of the saints. 6 stages of rebirth for ordinary people, as contrasted with the 4 saints, the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, sound hearers, and those enlightened by conditions, are the 4 Dharma realms of sages. the gods, human beings, asuras, animals, hungry ghosts, and hells make up the 6 Dharma realms of ordinary beings. The 6 common realms are the 3 good realms of gods, humans and asuras, and the 3 evil realms of hell beings, hungry ghosts and animals. If one plants the causes for the 3 good realms, one is reborn in these realms. The same applies to the 3 evil realms. This principle of cause and effect is the basic Buddhist theory. It is not a superstition. This principle is always correct, and never off by the least bit. According to the Tiantai sect, these 10 realms are mutually immanent and mutually inclusive, each one having in it the remaining 9 realms. For example, the realm of men will include the other 9 from Buddha to hell, and so will any of the 10 realms. Even the realm of Buddhas includes the nature of hell, and all the rest, because a Buddha, though not hellish himself, intends to save the depraved or hellish beings, and therefore also has hell in his mind. In this sense, the realm of the Buddhas, too, includes the other 9 realms. According to Buddhism, all these 10 Dharma realms originate from the single thought which is existing in our mind. Thus, ancient virtues taught all of these 10 realms a single thought are not apart from your present thought. If you can understand that thought, you immediately reach the other shore. That is to say, the 10 Dharma realms are not beyond our present thought. If we can understand that thought, we immediately become enlightened. According to the Avatamsaka Sutra, the myriad dharmas are made from the mind alone. The Buddha is created by our mind. If our mind cultivates the Buddhahood, then we will accomplish the Buddha way. If our mind is delighted by bodhisattvas, then we will practice the bodhisattva path and become a bodhisattva. But if our mind wishes to fall into the hells, and we will head in the direction of the hells, eventually we will have to fall into the hells, without any doubt. That is why it is said, the 10 Dharma realms are not beyond a single thought. According to the Sanjiti Sutta, in the long discourses of the Buddha, there are 6 realms of the samsara, or the realms of the unenlightened. All creatures in these realms are tied to the ceaseless round of birth and death. That is, to the law of causation, according to which existence on any one of these planes are determined by antecedent actions. In Buddhism, these planes are depicted as the spokes or segments of the wheel of life. This wheel is set in motion by actions stemming from our basic ignorance of the true nature of existence, and by karmic propensities from an incalculable past, and kept revolving by our craving for the pleasures of the senses, and by our clinging to them, which leads to an unending cycle of births, deaths, and rebirths, to which we remain bound. These are 6 paths, or 6 ways, or conditions of sentient existence, or 6 miserable states. Sentient beings revolve in the cycle of birth and death, along the 6 paths, life after life. These are paths of hell dwellers, hungry ghosts, animals, titanic demons or asuras, human beings and celestials. The 6 realms of the samsara include the 3 lower gatas, or 3 evil paths, and the 3 upper gatas, or 3 good paths. The 3 lower gatas include hells, hungry ghosts and animals. First, the realm of hells. The Sanskrit term is narakagati. This is the state of being miserable, of being in hells. This is the lowest and most miserable condition of existence. Sentient being, alaya consciousness, is condemned to stay in hell due to his worse karma in the hellish path. The sufferings there are so great that no words can describe them. In Buddhism, narakagati symbolizes ignorance, greed, and aggression. Depraved men, or hellish beings, who are in the lowest stage. Second, the state of hungry ghosts. The Sanskrit term is predagati. This realm of starved ghosts were greedy Selfish and deceitful souls are reborn in the path of hungry ghosts. Beings have ugly, smelly bodies, with bellies as big as drums, and throats as small as needles, while flames shoot out of their mouths. They are subject to hunger and thirst for incalculable eons. Hungry ghosts symbolize greed, departed beings, otherwise called hungry spirits. Besides, hungry ghosts also include Asura, or fighting spirits. Though partially heavenly, they are placed in the lower realm. Third, animality, or the state of animals. The Sanskrit term is Tiryajayani, the animals' realm reserved for those souls who are dull-witted, depraved, or have committed fornication. The path of animals, such as buffaloes, cattle, donkeys, and horses, is subject to heavy toil. Other domestic animals, such as goats, pigs, chicken, and ducks, are subject to be killed to make food for human beings. Still other animals suffer from stupidity, living in filth, and killing one another for food. These beings symbolize ignorance, or innocent in nature, including the whole animal kingdom, the three upper gatas, or three good paths. Among the three upper gatas, rebirth in the celestial, or human paths is difficult, while descent into Asura path, and other three lower gatas is easy and common. First, the Asura. The Sanskrit term is Asura. This is the state of angry demons. Asura's realm where those who are wicked, hot-tempered, violent, or are initiated into paganism. The path of Asuras is filled with quarreling and acrimonious competition. Second, the state of human beings. The Sanskrit term is Manasyagati. This is our earth, place where those who keep the basic 5 precepts are reborn. Human beings are neutral in nature and symbolizing social virtue. Third, celestials, or the state of gods. The Sanskrit term is Devagati. The gods' realm is reserved to those who observe the 5 basic commandments and have practiced the 10 meritorious action and abstain to do the 10 evil deeds. Although the celestial path is blessed with more happiness than our world, it is still marked by the 5 signs of decay and the things that go against our wishes. Heavenly beings, though superhuman in nature, they cannot get perfectly enlightened without the teaching of the Buddha. Celestials simply meditation abstractions, the 4 realms of enlightened existence, sometimes called the 4 holy states. Unlike those in the lower 6 realms, the enlightened know the joy of inward peace and creative freedom because, having overcome their ignorance and delusion through knowledge, they are freed from enslavement to karmic propensities arising from past delusive actions, and no longer sow seeds which will bear fruit in the form of new karmic bondage. Enlightenment, however, does not suspend the law of cause and effect. When the enlightened man cuts his finger, it bleeds. When he eats bad food, his stomach aches. He too cannot escape the consequences of his actions. The difference is that because he accepts, that is, he sees into his karma, he is no longer bound by it, but moves freely within it. The 4 saints include sound hearers, Pratika Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Buddhas. A sound hearer is a direct disciple of the Buddha. A hearer, a sound hearer, or a voice hearer who also undertakes the practice and becomes a Sarmanara, or a student who seeks personal enlightenment, and attains this only by listening to the teaching and gaining insight into the 4 noble truths, so that he can cultivate to reach his supreme goal of nirvana without earthly remainder. Vehicle or class of the hearers. The first of the 3 vehicles that can lead to the attainment of nirnava. Sravakayana generally refers to the Buddhists who don't belong to the Mahayana. Second, a Pratika Buddha, or a lonely enlightened one, who cultivates and gets enlightenment for himself, not teaching others. A Pratika Buddha is the solitary, awakened sage of Indian life whose ideal was incompatible with that of the Bodhisattva, in that he walked alone, and having attained his enlightenment, passed into nirvana, indifferent to the woes of men. He attains enlightenment through the insight of the 12 nidanas by himself, independently of a teacher, and attainment of his enlightenment, rather than that of others. In summary, Pratyeka Buddha is one who lives in seclusion, and obtains emancipation for himself only. Third, a Bodhisattva, a would-be Buddha. According to the Mahaprajnaparamita Sastra, Bodhi means the way of all the Buddhas, and Sattva means the essence and character of the good Dharma. Bodhisattvas are those who always have the mind to help every being to cross the stream of birth and death. A Bodhisattva is a conscious being of, or for the great intelligence, or enlightenment. The Bodhisattva seeks supreme enlightenment, not for himself alone but for all sentient beings. Fourth, a Buddha, who is not inside the circle of 10, but as he advents among men to preach his doctrine, he is now partially included in it.